Great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roti Balogun. I'm Nigerian. I look after learning, skills, and talent for GE. And it's, GE, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but it's a company that I'm really passionate about. I mean, it's a company that invents things that cures the world. They're probably the power in here, is a technology that GE invents. We move things around the world as well. So GE really is a company that touches every one of us lives. And so being able to share skills from the context internally as an industry leader, but our role as building skills for the continent at large is really, really a privilege. And so I'll spend the next couple of minutes talking through some of the best practices that we have internally and hopefully take some questions. But GE as a company has 300,000 employees plus globally, and in Africa, about 2,500, but with about 1,000 of them being South Africans. And as I said earlier, we're in multiple industries: power, aviation, transportation, healthcare. And so right across the value chain of skills, we play a very important role. So what really is the focus for us from a skills perspective? We have it's a three-pronged approach. For us, one, it's about education, right? We feel that as a company, it's important to build strong education systems with academia and with industry institutions at large. And so for us, it's the curriculum. How relevant are the curriculum that are being taught at our universities and our institutions today? How can we as a thought leader partner closely? It's about having better equipped schools and colleges with, we've been talking about the fourth industrial revolution, right? Again, we need to make sure that we're building those skills in partnership with the institutions that we have. Second, for us, it's really about digitalization, right? So it's, again, leveraging this great entrepreneurial spirit of the youth to use digital technology for learning, right? It's also about changing our education system, because the future of work has changed, and so has the future of skills and learning. So how we learn is completely different. And how do we take that back, into our institutions? And third and finally, localization. If these skills that we talked about are going away, some of them will stay. In fact, a lot of them will stay. But how are we deliberately localizing those skills? How are we transferring knowledge from the experts that are with us on the continent? And it's more than compliance, right? So it's, again, creating a level playing ground where we eradicate the red tape. Can we work together with regulators to ensure that we're really impacting critical skills? And so I'm going to talk very briefly on a couple of cases on how we see those three pillars for education. We recently launched in January what we refer to as the Africa Industrial Internet Program. This is really around building digital skills for the future. So currently we have about 50 South Africans on the program. The intention is to graduate at least 250 of them in the next 3 years. The idea is, what are the data skills? What are the visualization skills? What are the machine learning skills? What are the different applicability of artificial intelligence and big data to be able to be ready for those future skills like my friend talked about earlier? So again, for us, it's really important to have these programs, co-develop it with academia, but ensure that they're accredited as well, right, so that they can be sustainable. So again, we're very excited about this. We're thinking about how this will scale, and it's very important that as a company, we continue to invest in skills development from a digital perspective. The second one I wanted to talk about was the University's Business Challenge that we launched last year. Again, we talk about future skills, but, skills of today is important. If I asked anyone here what the biggest skills gaps are, you will tell me employability skills, you will tell me entrepreneurship skills. So for us as a company, it was also extremely important to partner with thought leaders like Enactus, who are represented in multiple universities, to start to think about how do we teach entrepreneurship differently? How can we embed what we use as best practices in the corporate world to actually teach leaders or entrepreneurial leaders on how to be better entrepreneurs and better leaders within their own environment? And so, the aim in itself was, to run faculty development programs for for faculty advisors within universities. It was also to take them through what we refer to as FastWorks, which is really our own entrepreneurial framework to think about. You just don't teach it. How do you actually apply it in the real world, right? So skills. So we use very focused business simulations to simulate essentially how to pass on this knowledge, especially for those that had not run companies before. But what was unique about this was, after taking the students and the faculty through the training, the intention was then to get them to go back into their communities and actually work on a practical real-life project with the skills that they've built. And so for us, this was learn, apply, learn, apply. And so, the project on green energy, we have about 10 projects where the students are currently working on them within their communities. And the intention is for us to seed them and fund that as much as possible. We kicked this off in multiple countries. I mean, we kicked it off in South Africa this year. We kicked it off in Nigeria last year. But the intention is to partner very closely with the Department of Higher Education to ensure that entrepreneurship education is a must within our academic institutions. The second one, digitalization. Again, very quickly, I'll just talk about what we're doing with how the future of learning has changed, and therefore how we change the approach with that. And so we also launched an online e-learning digital academy specific for industry, but available to students. So you can actually start to teach industry-relevant skills that, were reserved for our employees, but in principle now are available to students and institutions. So the onboarding time, the time for productivity when they join companies like GE is reduced significantly. So that's one of the ones. The other one I thought I would share with you is our online university. Now I think it's important to give you a sneak preview around how companies like GE that have been available for about 125 years think about online learning as well. And so what we do is that we partner, on the platform is called Brilliant University. We partner with multiple institutions like the Harvards and, MITs and a couple of institutions to bring learning to our employees' fingertips. So we spend a lot of time trying to coach employees that, everything is not going to be in front of you in the classroom. You can have the same quality of learning with our online platforms. Finally, I'd like to talk about localization. Now, this is very dear to my heart. Let's go back. Here we go. Okay. So we have two parts to this. So one, and I just thought to give an example of this. So we're partnering with one of our customers around building artisanal skills, but also the future of work skills. So I know, a couple of friends have talked a little bit about, skills that would completely go. That is true, but the reality is that, there are going to be a lot of skills that will remain, especially where we are in Africa today. And so I was just sort of sharing some highlights of, our investments in skills, the number of jobs that we've created. It was also important to show that we don't look at skills not just from a technical perspective, but we look at it from a leadership, functional, and professional perspective as well. But ultimately, the important thing is that when we build the skills, we also look at diversity. So how many females, and in the pie chart there you will see that about 39% of our skills programs are being taken by women. So again, it's very focused, for us it's a very focused strategy on female development within the STEM area. So ultimately I think, just to round up, we have an innovation center just up the road in Melrose, right? Where I'm inviting every one of you to come and, see our space. We definitely invest in Africa products for Africa. So we have lots of entrepreneurs come in, use the space, innovate, think about different ideas in terms of how to build the future of Africa. Thank you.